My neighbors travel through interplanetary space with commands from NASA sent to Galileo at Jupiter's face. Nigeria bid me come teach and inspire our teachers about astronomy. And they began to teach it in their classrooms for all their students to see. As a delegate from Costa Rica to Vienna, I spoke before the United Nations about the importance of space education and outreach to our current and future generations. My university students requested that I teach them physics in English, and that I became the first professor in Costa Rica's history, and at the planetarium was their wish. It was my honor and my privilege to introduce physics to the indigenous Kabakar. My commencement speech message was follow your dreams, follow your passion, never give up, and you will go far.
Natural physics is a concept astrophysicist Leroy Larry developed that explains in down-to-earth scenarios how the principles of physics could have come about from observing nature. Each episode begins with a scenario, followed by an example to illustrate the application of these principles in futuristic research at the frontiers of science, such as Leroy's astrophysics doctoral research, and then concludes with an exploration of how these same principles could have very well been used by ancient cultures and civilizations. Mathematics is naturally encountered and incorporated as the exciting and fun tool of science that it is. Science is the window into our amazing world of nature, and mathematics is the tool to open that window. Natural physics encompasses current, futuristic, and ancient physics, and ties them together by the principles of physics that are common threads running throughout each.
Greetings. I'm Leroy Larry, and welcome to the Natural Physics Experience, live from Costa Rica. In our last show, we were treated with an awesome presentation about Costa Rica. In that presentation were listed the 8 indigenous peoples of Costa Rica. In the territories of 3 of those indigenous peoples are found the enigmatic, mysterious Mesoamerican stone spheres found only in Costa Rica. Pyramids are found all over the world. These spheres are found only here. Costa Rica has a surface area of about 51,000 square kilometers. These spheres are found within 1/10 of a square kilometer, which makes them even more unique. As to their origin, no one knows who, when, why, and especially how. How do you construct a perfect sphere out of solid rock, out of solid granite? On one of our shows, our guest informed us that her friend had been told by word of mouth by the indigenous peoples that the stone spheres were once used as a lunar calendar to predict lunar eclipses. That ancient knowledge
has been lost, and the elders of the indigenous peoples would very much like to regain that knowledge. My fun endeavor is to use astrophysics to help them do just that. Here's a picture of me with the first stone sphere I ever encountered. You might wonder, how much does it weigh? I wondered that myself. There's an equation in physics that says the density of an object is equal to its mass divided by its volume. So if we can get the mass, we can get its weight. We can find out the density of this granite, and that leaves the volume to be found. Because we're dealing with a sphere, there are equations in geometry that if you know the radius of a sphere, you can find out its circumference, its surface area, and its volume. Using my height as a reference point, we could approximate the height of this sphere, which is also its diameter. Half of that is its radius. Using the equations from physics and geometry, we came up with a weight of this sphere of about 10 tons. Here's a more recent picture of me with another sphere taken this year, and that rhymes. In addition to how were these spheres constructed, there's also the question of how were they moved? How were they transported? Force is equal to mass times acceleration. What force was required to form perfectly shaped spheres from solid rock, solid granite? And then what force was required to move these massive objects? Their weight is equal to mass times gravity. W is equal to mg.
Oh, okay, brother. Down, I'm out. I'm down. You won, brother.
Got you, little brother.
Yep.
The force U is equal to my mass times acceleration.
Is that why you're able to spin me around so fast?
That's right, little brother.
Aha. So acceleration, that's speed. That's fast. That's rapid, right?
That's right, little brother, and I got a lot of acceleration.
Oh, wow. And that force, that just means because you have a lot of mass. You're a big brother.
You got it, Deanie. You got it, little brother.
F equals ma.
Excellent. Excellent, brother. And once again, what does that stand for?
Force equals mass times acceleration.
Excellent. Very excellent, little brother.
And that's an equation.
Hello there. I'm Osco, Balo's big brother and Deanie's big brother. I'm the original natural physics saber-tooth tiger. My weight on this toilet seat is equal to my mass times gravity. And the weight of my Tinkle Tinkle is equal to its mass times gravity. Good job, little man. Good job, little man.
The spheres were discovered in the 1930s, deep within the jungle. Many of them have been removed from their original locations. There are two stone spheres which are still located in their original positions, almost completely submerged within the ground. And the amazing fact is that if you draw a line between these two spheres to the horizon, they pinpoint where the sun comes up on the sunrise of the spring equinox. The spring equinox, not the fall equinox, not the summer solstice, not the winter solstice, the spring equinox. And there's a very practical reason for this. Spring equinox signals the beginning of spring, which is when you plant your crops. Survival. So very practical reason for why these spheres were placed in the fashion that they are. Very practical. The placement of these spheres also indicates a very advanced knowledge of the path of the sun across the sky in order to be able to place these spheres in this manner. And if there were such an accurate knowledge of the path of the sun across the sky, odds are there was a very accurate knowledge of the path of the moon across the sky. It's a lot easier to observe the moon with the naked eye than it is with the sun. This is very similar to Stonehenge, that is oriented in such a way that on the morning of the summer solstice, it is aligned with the sun, and on the sunset of the winter solstice, it is aligned with the sun. People gather for both of those phenomena every year. And as you might expect, people gather here to witness the sunrise on the spring equinox, aligned with these two spheres. Amazing, amazing. To me, it's amazing that more research has not been done on the spheres. From one of the few research papers that has been done, here are photographs from 3 consecutive years, 2004, 5, and 6, showing the sun coming up on the horizon on the morning of spring equinox. I submit my theory that if there's the ability to keep track of the path of the sun and the path of the moon in such an accurate way, then it's also known when those paths cross. And that knowledge would also include knowledge of the phases of the moon. So if it's known that there's going to be a full moon around the time that the path of the sun and the moon cross, then there's a very high probability that there's going to be a solar eclipse. And if there's going to be a new moon around the time that the two paths cross, then there's going to be a lunar eclipse. This is how the stone spheres were used to predict lunar eclipses as a lunar calendar. And again, the database required to accumulate such knowledge required thousands of years, observations, day after day, night after night, in order to be able to place those two spheres where they are placed. My theory is then, the two spheres placed in the ground indicate an advanced knowledge of the motion of the sun across the sky and thereby the motion of the moon across the sky. Knowing when these paths would intersect, combined with the knowledge of the phases of the moon, which the various sizes of the spheres, perhaps they indicate different phases of the moon, but combined with that knowledge, made it possible to predict when a lunar eclipse would happen. All right. Tiers and I visited the archaeological site where the two spheres are located and took these pictures. We also did a show from the Park of the Spheres.
Greetings, I'm Leroy Larry and welcome to Natural Physics, live from the territory of the Badukas. Season 2 opener, rocking and rolling with the spheres.
For you, baby. Mwah. Okay. Mwah. We are disgusting. Good morning, everybody. I'm Leroy Larry, and welcome.
Join us, everyone, for a full hour as we continue rocking and rolling with the spheres. Tune in, same fat time, same fat channel. Remember, FAT, P-H-A-T, physics with attitude. Enjoying physics as the window into our amazing world of nature, and mathematics as the tool to open that window. So tune in next show. Same fat time, same fat channel. Okie dokie.